I'm over here now.
Welcome to the show, everyone. We're over here now.
I'm over here now. Let me go call my friends. I'm over here now. All right, listen.
Oh,
I throw a curveball and you just strike out. You start to cry.
And your mom is asking for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. I am so excited you guys are here with us tonight because we have a tremendous guest with us. He is joining us again for the second time, our returning champion, as they say. Because believe it or not, since the last time we spoke to him, he has released yet another special. It's called Dark Out and available on his YouTube channel. It's NEKO WHITE, and this special is unlike any you've ever seen. It is recorded in a recording studio with no crowd, yet still one of the most dynamic specials I've ever seen, and we're going to dig into that shit. You're gonna love it. Then don't forget, next week on Friday, March 12th, I am not only doing another edition of Say Hi to Your Mom for Me, where I check in with my comic friends who have found themselves on lockdown with their parents during the pandemic. It's our first ever couples edition with none other than Stuart Fullerton and Drew Drevyanko, or Drewert as I call them. We're going to do our first ever couples edition of that, and they are going to bring the thunder. You know it, and I know it. And then, in a silly, awesome, pre-recorded interview, we're going to welcome my friend who is playing young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock. Right now, as we speak, it's available on demand and will be airing every, I believe, Tuesday for the next several weeks. Mr. Adam Ray is going to join us. I'm doing the pre-record on Sunday, and it's going to air next Friday, March 12th. So join us, tickets at phillycomedyclub.com. So give it up for Season 3 of...
Yes, indeed. Congratulations to you on the third season, man.
Oh, thank you. I can't believe we're still here. I am just learning how to use this technology. So, and also, big shout out this week to all of my teams. Huge comeback win by the Sixers the other night. Blew my mind. I woke up my children. Then the Flyers came back the other night after being down 3 goals in the first 90 seconds, came back and won the game. Bryce Harper hit a home run at his first at-bat of spring training today. And then the Eagles re-signed my actual hero in real life, Jason Kelce. And they re-signed my favorite Eagle of all time, Brandon Graham. So give it up for Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen. I did it. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 3, Episode 2 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. It's time for another edition of your favorite segment and mine, QUARAN-BITS, where I, Papa Russ, update you about how life has been going for me as a stay-at-home dad here in the lockdown pandemic situation that we all find ourselves in. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to revisit running a Mormon homeschool house here that I run, okay? And I want to talk to you tonight about my kids and other people's kids oversharing during their Zoom classes, okay? Because that's another pandemic that nobody's talking about. It's going on everywhere, okay? Because the other day, there's two sides to this coin. The other day, my son, Nico, he's in his class, and he just announces to the class all of a sudden, yeah, my dad plays virtual reality for at least 3 hours every day. And I'm like, oh shit, they're going to call DIFUS. So I run over to...
They're going to call DIFUS for that.
You know, I unmute myself. I was like, excuse me, everybody. I do not play 3 hours of virtual reality every day. Sometimes I only get 2 hours in. And sometimes I don't get any time in at all because there's these fucking kids around all here all the time. Well, Mrs. Donahue, you can't mute me. I'm a taxpayer.
Yeah.
And then Rocco's like, Dad, she muted you. I was like, she can't mute me. I'm a taxpayer, you know. I'm going full town hall on this bitch, you know. I don't give a fuck, you know.
First of all.
That's right. And then... the other side of that coin is, Nico, I'm in kindergarten class with Sophia on Zoom. And, you know, all the kids in that class, they're allowed to share at the beginning of class. And of course, they share the most boring pedestrian shit, you know. Like, I got a new doll. Or look at my Peppa Pig pajamas. You know, fucking snooze fest, okay? But somehow, God bless her heart, she's a hero. That kindergarten teacher, she makes everything sound exciting. She's like, oh, wow, that sounds cool. Oh, that sounds neat, you know? But every once in a while, Nico, I swear to God, Kevin will be like, my cat sees dead people, you know? And she doesn't miss a beat, Sophia's teacher. She's just like, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Your family must love that, you know? And I want to run over and just unmute myself and be like, get out of there, Kevin. Run! The fucking cat's possessed, man. Oh, shit, Kevin, you got to get out of there. Haley Joe Ozcat's going to knife you, Kevin. Your house is built over an ancient Indian burial ground. Oh, Kevin. You know? So I got terrified for Kevin. The teacher's just acting excited. But I will tell you this, Nico, through this experience, you know what I am gathering?
What's that?
A really good list of all the kids not to set up a play date with for Sophia when all of this shit is over. I'm like, okay, no Kevin and his demon cat. His house is obviously Pet Cemetery 5. Okay, no interest in that. And then if you've been watching the show or listening to the show before, let's go over number 2 and 3 with a bullet. Number 2 is definitely Brandon, because his mom does do all of his work and they fucking lie about it. They are bullshit liar faces. I don't believe a word that comes out of their mouths. They speak out of both sides of it, those fork-tongued motherfuckers. And number three, Nico, I gotta say, is definitely Savannah. I know that all children are beautiful and she's a 6-year-old girl, but Savannah is a straight up bitch. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I will bare knuckle close fist fight her in a parking lot. She is white lady who refuses to take off the mask and Target level hose beast. I can see her future. So it's a big no to Savannah. Okay, so she's crossed off my list. So give it up for season 3, episode 2 of QUARAN-BITS on Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. And
first
thank
of
you
all,
for our special guest, Nico, for joining us.
brother,
Go Birds.
Thank you. Go Birds. That was hilarious. I feel so bad for Savannah, man.
Yeah, no. Savannah better not see me at the next ice cream social, because she is gonna get
yeah, she better not, man. She definitely better not. Savannah, you best walk around with the best protection that you can be provided.
And I'm gonna be creeping. I'm gonna be looking for her. I'm just saying,
all I'm gonna say is that the views of RUS GUTIN are his and his alone. NEKO WHITE is a separate entity, and his opinions do not form with Russ's opinions on bare knuckle fighting a 6-year-old.
Nico has nothing to do with this. He is completely innocent.
I've never
at NEKO WHITE _93 on Instagram. All right, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us on season 3, episode 2 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. It's time for another edition of what we sometimes call Album of the Week or Podcast of the Week, but this week it's Comedy Special of the Week, and we are welcoming back one of my favorite comics of all time and his second time on the show, our returning champ, none other than NEKO WHITE is joining us, who somehow, since the last time we spoke to him, has released yet another special. It's called Dark Out, and it's available on his YouTube special, and this thing is special, unique, intimate, and dynamic. One of the best I've ever seen. All taped in a recording studio at Pinch Recording, captured by Homeless Pimp with no audience. It takes balls. So tonight we're going to share a little clip from it that I think gives you a little bit of that flavor. And then none other than Neko is going to join us for a killer interview. So please give a clip from Dark Out, Mr. Neko White.
I remember when they taught us about slavery, it pissed me off. Because in school, especially here, this is how they taught us our history. You ready? You were slaves, 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 you were slaves. We killed all of your leaders. Obama. That's how they taught us our history. Do you know how fucked up that is? And I had black teachers teaching me this shit. I remember I was 8 and we first learned about slavery, and I asked my teacher, hey, why would you tell me this? 10 minutes ago, I thought I could save my granddad from the dead if I collected all 7 Dragon Balls. Now you're telling me that these people used to own us because our skin is different? That makes no sense. Oh, I hate that shit. They made up all these ridiculous accusations for us, and then we never get to make any back. That's what pisses me off. I just want it to be fair. I want it to be fair.
Ladies
I remember when they taught us about slavery.
Holy shit. Give it up for none other than the star of Dark Out, available on his YouTube channel, Mr. Neko White, ladies and gentlemen.
You know how to get an intro, buddy. Thank you very much. I'm honored. Yeah. I'm honored to hear anything like that. I really appreciate it.
No, I put you over like the host at a wrestling contest in Tennessee. That's how
I'm telling you.
But Neko, I really mean it when I say it. I feel like, and that clip, I really love that clip because I feel like it shows how funny and serious it can be on a dime. The editing going back and forth, showing how dynamic it is in its technical approach, but also, you know, a Dragon Ball Z reference thrown in there too. It's really just like you're running on all cylinders, and
Thank you, man.
I thought it gave a little bit, just a little bit of that flavor of what makes the special, in my opinion, so unique and intimate and dynamic. I keep using that word because that's what it felt to me. Because not only, like I said, is it made at Pinch Recording in a recording studio with Homeless Pimp capturing it, but it had no crowd, yet it still rocks. I mean, it has peaks, valleys, turns, characters, beginning, middle, end. It was cinematic almost, is a word I would use for it. So I guess my first question is, what gave you the guts to record a comedy special with no crowd?
So the thing about that was, so after I put out Marcellus, right, when I put out the album, everything started happening. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it was a lot. You feel me? It was like every day, because I don't have cable in here or nothing like that. I got my Netflix and all that type shit. Right. But it's like, I'm not going to pay you X amount when I can save the money. You know what I mean? Right. But it was news everywhere. Like, even when you trying to avoid it, you couldn't get away from it. And then it was like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, all that stuff was compounding. And then, like, I had friends sending me like challenges and shit, like go online and say this to help this cause and blah, blah, blah. So I'm watching it and everything's starting again to feel like overload. So I'm like, I need something to do. And if you remember back then, we were still able to do the park shows and all that type of shit.
Right, so, on the back of a pickup truck, if you will.
Right. So I was able to go out and at least test some material and tighten. Okay. So after a while, I was like, well, I want to do something, because everybody that I would see on my timeline, and I'm not talking about comics, I'm talking about just like regular people
civilians, as we call them.
Yeah. Like, everybody's feed was just so sad. You know what I mean? Right. It was just so sad. And I wanted to be able to put something out that would be able to, you know, be funny, but also like be about what's happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was, you know, it might shock you who inspired the idea. So I remember somebody told me to check out this Lil Wayne documentary, and they had told me to check it out to be like, yo, Lil Wayne is crazy or whatever, right? So when I look it up, whatever, I didn't know that the way that he did his music was he would go into a recording studio, just get in front of a microphone, listen to the beat, and then just go.
Oh, right? That's it. Okay.
So I saw him do that, and I was like, why can't I try that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why can't I try that? So then when I reached out to a comic at first, and I was like, "Yo, I had this idea, blah blah blah." He was like, "Well, I don't get it." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool." So after a while, I was like, "It's probably good that you didn't get it." I reached out to Mike Lavin, the homeless pimp, and I told him the idea. He got it right away.
I mean,
And when
incredible. I mean, he's like a genius. Like the
yeah,
way he captures our whole world. He was the perfect person to call. It seems to me.
100%, man, 100%. When I told him the idea and I told him about the when I told him about the camera angles and how we were thinking about doing them, he was with it. And when we asked Scott and Emilio if we could use the Pinch Recording Studios, they were down, and they set up this really nice microphone. The mic costs more than anything I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Nah, like legit, that mic costs more than anything I own, bro.
Oh, okay. Because I had a question about that microphone. I heard something about that microphone. So
Got you. I'll confirm or deny.
yeah.
So, so leading up to it, I was actually really fucking nervous because I didn't know I couldn't get an order down. I could not get an order down for anything. I knew I wanted to close on stuff about my grandma, but I could not get an order down for the shit to save my life, right? And all the shows that I had set up that were going to be long sets got canceled because things started to re-lock down again.
Right.
So when we get there and it's time to shoot, I was supposed to be there at 4 o'clock. I got there at 4. Mike got there right at like 4:15. And the other guy that was supposed to do the camera, he got there maybe 45, 50 minutes late, right? So he comes in, we all talk real quick. And the first couple of times that I shot it, I didn't have the microphone that you see in the special. That wasn't even there.
Oh.
I did stand up like regular. You know what I'm saying? With a regular microphone, going back and forth, no blackout curtain or whatever. So I told Mike, I said, okay, man, for the first one, light me at 45, because I don't know how much time I'm going to do, to be honest.
Right.
You know? So when I finished the last joke, I was like, so how much time do we have? He told me we were close to like 50-something minutes. So I was like, okay, you're fucking with me. All right. We do it the second time, and we shot, I want to say, an hour.
Okay.
And then after that, they finally set up the Frank Sinatra kind of mic and the blackout curtain.
Ah.
And the original idea was it was going to cut between me doing stand up the regular way, and then when I got to like the more serious stuff, it would cut to the the Frank Sinatra,
okay.
Right?
I could see that working too.
Right? But when he set up that mic and I just went, and this one was completely different than the other two. And we went for about, I don't want to lie, we went for about an hour 20 something.
Wow.
And when we were done, I liked that one so much, I didn't even look at the other two. Like, till right now, I still haven't even seen the other two.
Don't. If you feel that way, then go with that.
But having said all that, the project itself is something that I'm really, really proud of. You know what I mean? As far as the courage, I've always kind of worked material out like that.
Wow.
I was doing Pudge Fernandez's Instagram live recently, right? And he reminded me of something that I kind of forgot. So back when I had started, Laugh Lounge was a spot that I would go to, right?
Yeah, okay.
And
love it.
They had a show there on Mondays. Donnell Rollins had a show there on Mondays.
Yep.
And sometimes his show wouldn't happen, right? Every now and again, he'd be on the road. He wouldn't be there. So the crowd wouldn't show up like they usually would. So for me, I'm fresh out of high school. You know what I mean? I'm 14, 15. This don't really affect me that nobody's here. Nobody's here. I write my jokes down. I want to see how they sound. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get on the mic while they would drink. You know, everybody that was grown, they upstairs, they drink or whatever. I'd be downstairs just practicing what I wrote. So then as that changed, it became, okay, I need a long set for something. I would take all my material that I would do, like just in the clubs, my 10 minutes, and I would add them on to each other. So this 10 minutes plus that 10 minutes, that's 20. So on and so forth, right?
Right.
And in the house, I would just set up a voice recorder and go through it and see how long I would go, take like a pause to see, you know, that's the laugh, whatever, but take the pause and whatnot, see how much time I had. Because Donnell Rollins has said something to me a long time ago. He was like, how much time you got? And I said, well, 30 minutes. He was like, nah, I mean, how much time you got naked? You know, I'm from Harlem, so my knee-jerk reaction is like, what? Pause.
Whoa.
Right? But I'm like, nah, he don't seem like he playing right now. So I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, how much time do you have when the audience isn't fucking with you? Like, you have to be on stage.
Right.
How much time do you have? Now, I've always been really long-winded anyway. You know what I'm saying? Even back then.
You build the foundation, and then the payoff is always just incredible. So
yeah, but that still don't mean that still don't make it short. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm long-winded. I think you're just right. I think you're like the poet.
I appreciate
just
you,
right.
Now that said, it was always a good way for me to figure out how much time I had. You know, so then for this, it didn't feel that awkward. You know what I mean? It didn't feel that awkward when we did it, because you gotta remember, I had Mike and I had the other guy. Mike's on this camera. You got the other guy on this camera. Right. My timing, I thought my timing was off. Like if y'all got to see the parts that we cut out, I was talking at double speed. I talk fast anyway, but I was talking fast.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So I was definitely a little bit more like hyped up, but people like it so far. So
I mean,
I'm just happy for that.
Incredible. The fact that was, I mean, first of all, that's a long session to do of anything, of a song, even just doing a session musician, somebody doing a drum part. It takes time, it takes precision, and you were with obviously the right people to do that. But I can't believe that you did that on that third take. That is awesome, because it really is this great sort of performance. So and also yeah, I mean, even the way it's nice to know that they were in your ear too, because you can see that you were like tagging it, and you know, like honestly, I can't get over it. I'm gonna give some examples.
Before we get them too much credit now, that was my idea.
yeah, no. You get all the credit, Nico. Remember, you're
the best
on camera. The Rock wrote all the Fast and Furious movies, as far as I'm concerned now. So
did he really?
No, but just if you're in it, you can take all the credit. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got this.
Got you.
So we've learned so much about the behind the scenes, and we sort of hinted at it. But what I wanted to know was, I heard there was a cool story behind that microphone that you guys ended up using.
Yeah. So from what I understood, it's a Frank Sinatra style microphone. I don't know if Frank Sinatra himself ever used it or not. I can't be sure. That's a question you would have to ask Scott. But I do know that that thing's serious right there.
Okay,
man.
yeah, because their posts sort of hinted at it having that microphone having quite the history, and they sort of, you know, were like, could neither confirm nor deny, you know.
I
like it. Your hands are up. I get it. Snitches get stitches. I got it. We're not saying anything. So
they made me feel real comfortable though. You know what I'm saying? Because they let me like poke that microphone and everything. Because at some points I was damn near headbutting that shit.
No, but and because I mean, first of all, some of the reason that you're such a great comic is the physical nature of you know when to stand still, you know when to accentuate something. You also are always, you know, you have the drip, as the kids say. You're G'd up from the feet up. You always have the great jackets and the great. So you're
very kind, man.
Yeah, but you use the space. You know that listen, they're there to see you, so you put on a show. So and that's what I really like. So this is something that I really liked about the through line of the set that I wanted to ask you about. There's a bunch of characters that you sort of set up throughout the set, and that is opportunity, your bank account, COVID, and depression.
Yeah.
And they all sort of have their own moments to shine, but then at one point they sort of interact, and it's a big payoff for the audience who's listening to it, and in my opinion, what will be that live audience in the future. I just absolutely loved it. So I guess my question for you is was that built into the set from the beginning, or is that a happy accident during the development or the cutting together of the set?
That whole piece I'd had, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really how I felt.
Right. Well, it's
You know
real.
what I mean?
It's real shit.
That's me opening the layers for you, because it's like people wonder how you feel in times like this, right? And the thing about it, putting this thing together, it was like, when would I ever have a chance to do it like this, right?
On your
where would I ever have a chance to really play like that? You know what I mean? Because if there is a crowd, who's to say that if there was a crowd that I'd even get that much time to cut and weave through that like I wanted to.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Knowing me, I like to hear them laugh more than, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for that, it just felt good to be able to dig into that, because again, I remember when I was you know how you bounce an idea off a friend, and one of my friends, I was like, so what do you think if I made the connection of bank account and opportunities like I was in a relationship, right? And they didn't really get it, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, it's one of my close ones, and when they didn't get it, I'm like, oh man, but I really like this one. I'm like, I think there's something here.
No,
you know
I
what
have
I mean?
a bit like that with my best friend. There was one bit that he didn't like, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you. And then it ended up being my closer at the Comedy Store for like a year and a half straight.
Right?
It was like the one thing that we didn't agree on, but I just knew that it, you know, you just know as a comic, eventually, you know where that laugh's going to be. You know it's going to read. You know,
Yeah.
listen, and you, again, I was saying this to you before the show. I have gotten to know you a lot from working with you and seeing your material, but I felt like this special dug into your life story. I hope to have a few lines in it when they make the movie of it. I do have a set card, and just putting that out there. And when you talk about being from Afghanistan, when you start to build these characters, and opportunity and your bank account were starting to be in the same room.
Yeah.
And we're whispering in opportunity's ear, and you did have more responsibility with your bank account. You know, and then were you like, have you ever lived in the projects for 27 years? You ever lose six figures that you never had?
Yeah.
And those were those moments where I felt like, you know, kind of like maybe a lot of comics felt, where, you know, I just had this going right before this happened.
Yeah.
You know, and who was blowing up more than NEKO WHITE? You know, you were firing up the charts, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you really had your ducks in a row, and I felt like you did dig into those feelings, and I felt like I got to know a more vulnerable side of NEKO, because on stage you are, like I said, you're shivving them with jokes. I mean, you're just
I appreciate
are
it.
literally like boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's absolute. You know how big of a fan I am of yours. So speaking of that, now this is what I felt about now that we've learned you did get to try some of it. So some of it felt like it was like designed for the special, and some of it you did get to work outdoors and during the pandemic a little bit. But the material does feel very stage ready. Like even at the point, the 25-minute mark, where you sort of warned the audience, it's about to get dark out, you know, like so to speak. And listen, I really loved it. I want to make sure I say as many examples as possible. Do
you think, bro? I'm here with you. I got nowhere to be.
How you felt about the protest? How cops and firemen should switch jobs?
That one, yo, I don't care. That one I'm keeping.
Oh
that
no,
one I'm keeping.
It's ready to go.
One I'm keeping.
That's that one. Yeah, no one wants to.
I got some more that I want to add to that. So yo, I don't care who you are, you got to take that one with you.
No, that one is.
I got to be able to bring that one.
It is a perfect bit. It's so perfectly constructed, and you can see it. You visualize it in a way that the audience can just see it as you're saying it. I loved Harriet Tubman versus Andrew Jackson on the 20. You don't want any parts of that. And this, I really mean this, because at a certain point during my young comedy career, I lived on 178th and Audubon in Dominican Harlem. And the part about how Dominican Americans feel towards and act towards African Americans, no puppy.
Yeah.
I think that will, especially in New York, is going to shake the fucking grounds.
Thank you.
And you gotta milk the no puppy.
Now I ain't gonna lie. Now that bit right there, that bit is old. That's one of my ones.
Oh, okay, good. But that's all right. You're allowed to have as many in the chamber as you want. They could be bullets you just got at the Walmart, or they could be one you've been saving for your ex's new beau. I don't give a fuck. So what I wanted to say is this is my question for you, especially about that Dominican African American material that I definitely loved and identify with just from my personal experience. But is there certain material that you only do in certain rooms at certain venues? No? Wow.
No. And the reason for that is because I feel like that would be being fake, right? So one of the things about coming up in this scene that I'm really grateful for is the older comics that I got to see when I got to see them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, Donnell Rollins was somebody that I saw a lot. Yeah. And Donnell would go to every single kind of room that you can think of, right? I know that because I like to think that I would go to those same type of rooms. No matter what the scene was, I was out. You know what I'm saying? I'm always going to be outside. So I would see him do the same like long form joke about, I don't know, Michael Jackson, right?
Oh, I love that one, and his Air Force stuff, all of it.
Yeah, so he's in front of a room full of Australians that don't know nothing about, you know what I'm saying, nothing.
Excellent.
At Laugh Lounge, right? And he's killing. And even on a night that he's not deviating from this bit, you know what I mean? Then when I see him in the black room doing that same bit, he's doing it with the same energy, maybe even adding a little more and then finding pockets in it, right? Then saving what he found in the pocket. And then when you see him in another room, you see him smashing and doing what he found in that pocket in this room and adding to the bit. By the time you see it at Caroline's, the room is shaking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, he brings down the house.
So it was trying to adopt something like that to where if I have this joke, why shouldn't I do it here? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This might be a longer one or a headier one. Why shouldn't I do it here? Because another thing I used to, that I still don't really like, was especially when I was like on the open mic circuit, you would hear like chirpings from comics that would be like, oh, well, you know, in the rooms they don't really like jokes, blah 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 blah. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So I always really didn't. I really never liked that, right? So I would write quicker then. So going in there, doing the jokes, and again, trying to find what works. Take a nap, going into this room of people that are nothing like me.
Right.
Trying to find what I find. If I find something in the pocket, add it onto the joke, make it bigger, build it up. And then I found out how you classify like a bit, a chunk, and a piece and all that.
Yeah, no.
I always wanted to have a bit, a chunk, a piece, and something to make a callback to.
Correct. And listen, you're so unabashedly you on stage, so your answer definitely fits your scouting report and your profile, at least from my point of view, because you really, that's why I felt like your special really sort of smacked me in the face, because I already felt like you sort of laid it all on the table. Like, and I saw you coming up to, too. Like, I saw you when you were, just rocking New York Comedy Club and coming. I was like, Jesus Christ, this motherfucker's cooking with gas. You put older, comics on their heels, I think, because it's just sort of a wake up call. Because so that's why I do like your answer. And I would say this, speaking of Donnell, I was hosting Comedy Juice at the Improv, and then a few months later, I had moved to New York suddenly and was doing it at Gotham for them. And so he saw me and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And to your point, I mean, it was the same material, and he just destroyed. And there was no,
Yeah.
he didn't really care because it was different rooms. And this is what I noticed with younger comics who would come to do the New York show from LA. They wanted to do all their Mexican stuff. And I was like, okay, well, guys, this is New York. There's everything here. You can have a Mexican joke, but like you can't do like 10 minutes on it. This is in LA, so they had to, and then it took me a long time to figure out, how do I write something that's going to work everywhere, that'll work in New York, St. Louis, Los Angeles, and stop trying to, so it took me a long time to get to a point where you are, as a much younger comic, which, like I said, is purely yourself, like Nightfire. You know what I mean? Like,
appreciate that.
So, Comedy Inferno. That's what I refer to NEKO White as. So, speaking of which, this is my last question of this particular segment for you, and then I heard a rumor that you're going to stick around.
I'm going to stick around.
So I'm excited about that. So this is my question for you. We heard this week that April 2nd, it looks like the stand-up world in New York and kind of in our region is going to start opening up as we used to know it again, indoors as God intended. Yeah. You spoke about that on your special in a way that also really connected with me, especially the funny part where you said, I miss getting applause just for showing up to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only job in the world, even theater. Like, I went to school for theater. They clap at the end. Like, you have to do a good job, and then they'll sort of clap at the end. But, stand up, they're like, he's here on time,
Yeah, man. And people forget, like, my job might not be like your job, but it is my job. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in my profession for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Almost half my life. Like this year, it'll be half my life. You feel me? So, yeah, it felt crazy. You know what I mean?
No, and I again, you spoke about it being a job in a way that I think we were talking about earlier. A civilian might be able to sort of quantify it, because I think
we look at it the same way. I remember I used to get like kind of peeved at some of my friends that had jobs. You know what I'm saying? only because they had a definite paycheck.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, especially the ones that were pursuing stand-up. I'm like, oh, you lucky bastard.
Son of a bitch.
You know what I'm saying? And they would, and sometimes I felt like they didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? They started having the job as a curse. I'm like, man, you better appreciate that shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think sometimes, even when I'm going to a road gig and you see like those neighborhoods and those houses, and they have like an ATV and an addition, you're like, that person seems really happy.
Yeah, let them people have their happiness.
Validation from drunks just to like drive home not crying. This is cool. Maybe
let them people have their happiness.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to ask you. So with our stand-up world sort of opening back up, what are some of the clubs, venues, and comic hangouts that you are the most excited for?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. If nothing else, I've learned to appreciate this thing even more.
Wow.
Which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that said, I'm not gonna say that there's any one place. I'll be happy to see everybody everywhere.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do, and I think you and I have spoken about this before at some other gigs, but I do think that sometimes comics didn't necessarily appreciate how unique and cool and sort of standalone our profession is. And you know, like, bitching and moaning is not really kind of like, this isn't brain surgery, man. Like, if we're not having,
we're all we got, man.
Yeah, like, we all we need. But if we're not having fun, especially as somebody who sort of accidentally found their way into this, like, host with the most sort of role, coast to coast, if I'm not having fun, the audience will know. The audience will see that. And you're somebody, when you're ready to go, you have your headphones on. You're like, hey, Russ, I'm going to be out there. Like, I'm like that too. Once I'm done, bullshitting or whatever, grab-assing, you sort of go off. Like when we were at the Trop to that bench or the Claridge, you went into that hallway
Yeah.
And that's it. But like at the same time, when you show how are you, how's your, like
Yeah.
it's a good vibe, and I do
Yeah.
think, especially when we're working together, when the lineup are people that are having fun, the audience has more fun. I don't.
100%. 100%. I never understood, and I never understood being mean to the people you work with, even if, like, there's sometimes where you might hit a lineup and you might go, "Oh, I can't stand so and so." Now, I'm grateful to be able to say I don't have too many of those, right?
Yeah.
But if you do, let it go. Let it go on stage.
At least for tonight. At least for tonight. Be
Let it go
chill.
on stage.
Because we're all gotta have fun and things like that. So I do appreciate like sort of talking to you about that, because I just feel that way. I just feel like, let's all have fun. We're all in this together. And again, I'm like a musical theater nerd. So at the Comedy
Yeah.
Store at first, when I would come into the belly room, green room, I'd be like, all right, we're gonna have a great show. Love that joke, buddy. Love that shirt. And they're like,
Yeah.
what does this fucking guy want? What's his angle? But I'm just like jazz hands,
Yeah.
I'm the Muppet Show. If the Muppet Show opening number could be a person, that's me.
Oh, that's Russ Gutin. Yeah,
And
no
it's like,
question.
how can you not be excited to be talking about your junk for money? I just don't get it. Like,
However you can get yours, right?
yeah.
But there's one thing I wanted to add on, and that's this. As far as the hang, anywhere where you get like my groups, you know what I'm saying? Like the people I enjoy seeing,
Correct.
and even the people who I might enjoy seeing I haven't met yet, right? Whoever those are. Those diner hangs after a show, you can't beat those.
Absolutely.
Can't
There's
beat those.
no better tasting bacon and eggs than
Those
3 o'clock in the morning.
the comic goat argument, you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
beat that. You can't beat that.
Oh yeah, because it gets heated. It gets
You can't
heated.
you can't beat that. The friend versus battle, you can't beat that.
And that's where roast battle, I remember when Rel and Moses roast battles sort of grew out of that sort of element in the parking lot after the shows. And so they sort of spun it, and you ended up being a host of it, obviously, in New York. I mean, but I remember watching it sort of like grow from basically that diner hang, that parking lot argument. Like they're bumming cigarettes off each other, but also insulting each other's mothers.
Yeah.
And their material and their career worth. And it was brilliant. It was just so fun. I mean, I never got involved, Nico, because like I said, I would be able to dish it out, but I would never be able to take it. But it became an amazing thing. But I could take it at a diner, just not on stage. I like to be in control on stage.
Oh, fam, I'm talking about off stage though. Like what?
Oh yeah. Off stage, I love it. Off stage, I just can't believe that they turned that into something. So I'm glad you brought that up, because the diner hang is essentially the best.
Wherever you can find comics around, wherever you can find comics around, being themselves, like having those talks, beautiful.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are smart and savvy and love comedy itself, you are going to go to Nico's YouTube channel and watch Dark Out. It is absolutely one of my favorite, and I think the most stunning pieces of comedy artwork that I have been privileged to watch. And I salute them for being brave enough to make something so incredibly unique and different. And we thank Nico for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Nico.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
for joining us on season 3, episode 2, on Comedy Special of the Week on Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Watch Nico's special. Go Birds. Give it up for Nico, ladies and gentlemen.
Go Birds.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I just want to say that was incredible. I love that special. And now it's time for our final segment on Season 3, Episode 2 of Philly Comedy Club, and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. We usually call this ARA, Ask Russ Anything, and we're going to actually change it up tonight because we have a special guest joining us. It is NEKO WHITE joining us for a bonus segment, and we're not going to call this ARA. We're going to call it ANHPT. Ask NEKO Harry Potter Trivia.
There you go.
Give it up. And we also have another special guest, the fruit of my loins, my 9-year-old beautiful baby boy wearing his Harry Potter pajamas, Mr. ROCCO Gutin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
What's up, Rocco?
Hey, Rocky, you
Rocky.
All right, so as I was telling NEKO before the show, I am already a giant nerd, as you may know. And I love all things nerddom, but our guest, NEKO WHITE, is a huge Harry Potter fan and has a Harry Potter podcast called...
Yeah, dude, the POTTERHOOD Podcast, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
POTTERHOOD Podcast.
Woo!
Awesome. I've actually listened to it a few times, especially when you get into lists and arguments over Harry Potter theories and how you feel about the books. I love it. And during the pandemic lockdown, even though I was a big Harry Potter fan, it was a really great experience that my wife and my son got to read all the books and see all the movies at once. So it was very, very cool. And Rocco just loves Harry Potter more than life itself. Legos, costumes, wands. We even have butterbeer in the fridge, NEKO. I'll
What?
send you the link. If you give me your address, I swear to God, I'll send a case to you. We have butterbeer.
I want a case.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I gotta admit. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I bought Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit for the family to play, and Rocco's been rocking it. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have 9-year-old Rocco take out a card and ask NEKO some Harry Potter trivia? What do you guys say? What do you say, NEKO?
I say, first of all, Rocco, I hope I don't disappoint you, okay? I'm going to do this. I am not worthy, and I thank you for asking me.
Yeah, no, he was excited.
Do you want to do a versus first to 2 questions right wins?
We can do that, yeah. Of course we can.
Of
course we can.
Bringing out the stakes. All right, I'll read the questions. I'll read the questions in first to 2.
Okay.
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 Yes.
All right. Hi, NEKO. By the way, Mama. Over
How are you?
Wife, Dara, she's a real person.
Good to see you too. Mom.
I am a real person. Yes. and I have to say that Russell did love your special so much that he had to take breaks in between to come upstairs to tell me in the kitchen how brilliant he thought it was. So he's not just blowing smoke up your butt, let me tell you.
I trust me, the man's too genuine to lie. I believe him.
Yeah, I wish I could.
True. He is genuine.
I wish I could.
Genuinely crazy. Anyway, okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
Me.
You'll go first? Okay. All right. Who became Master of the Elder Wand after Albus Dumbledore?
Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy is correct. 1 point for Rocco.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Are we ready, NEKO?
I'm ready.
What department in the Ministry of Magic does Arthur Weasley work in when Harry first meets him?
Oh, he works in Muggle. He works in Muggle affairs, right? Muggle artifacts.
That's right, Muggle artifacts.
NEKO!
NEKO,
bring in the thunder! Bring in the pain!
Okay, this could be either the win or the tie. We'll take a tie. We could take a tie too. That's okay.
Right.
We'll acknowledge both of your
It's like soccer.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Rocco. What 2 creatures does Voldemort use in the Battle of Hogwarts aside from Dementors?
Giants and the kind that is Aragog. I don't remember what it is.
Well, what is he? He's a
Giant spider.
Very good.
Oh.
There you go. Sorry, Mama gave a little bit of a leading something, you know, but
No, that was good. Judges
Excellent.
say you gave it
Excellent. Excellent.
I wouldn't have remembered that. I remembered giants, but I did not remember the giant spiders. Okay.
Wow. Wow, this is awesome.
Okay, Nico. What is the first name of Hogwarts founder Ravenclaw?
Rowena Ravenclaw.
Very good.
Shit, do not.
Excellent.
Do not
All right.
go.
This is the buzzer round. You gotta raise your hand to answer
Okay, you
this
gotta
one.
raise your hand. All
This
right.
is the tiebreaker.
I'll be the judge of who buzzes first. My relation to Rocco means nothing right now. Go ahead.
Got you. But it only counts once my hand gets past my lips, okay?
Okay, got it.
All right.
Got it.
Who is Cho Chang's date to the Yule Ball?
Secretary.
Oh, that was
Oh,
The young
That's
man
a
takes
very
it, ladies
fun.
and
The young
gentlemen.
man
fast.
Cedric
Young man
Diggory.
takes it.
wow.
All right.
Nico
Thank you,
White.
Nico.
What a sport.
No problem.
Thank
What
you.
a-
I will probably go onto Google Podcasts tomorrow and look up your podcast. What is it called again?
Yes. The Potterhood Podcast, young man.
Okay, the Potterhood Podcast. Let me go write that down
It's
before I
definitely-
forget.
All right.
I can-
Congratulations, man.
Nico, I can't thank you. You know what? Rocco really was we didn't know we were so excited that you thought it was a good idea. It was definitely something that he was like, "Do you think Nico would wanna?" And I was like, "I think he would," you know? So
100%, man.
yeah, no, you are such a fucking sport, Nico. Man, do I owe
Anytime,
you.
buddy.
Rocco won't soon forget it. You are definitely a wizard, my friend.
I appreciate you, buddy. Tell Rocco I
You're a
said
wizard.
mischief managed, okay?
Absolutely, you got it. I'm gonna say, you pick out a Lego set, buddy, from Target within the $30 range, and I'll send it right to you. I got the app on my phone.
I solemnly swear I am up to no good.
And that's what we closing on right there. Thank y'all so much, man. I
Thank
really,
you.
really appreciate it, dog. If I don't get credit from anybody else, I know I get it from you. Thank you so much.
That's
for all
right.
of that.
Yeah, I'll build an addition. You could just set up a house here, whatever you want to do, Nico. It's
I
Team Nico
got
in the
y'all.
Guten House. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on season 3, episode 2 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's The RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. And our guest, Nico White. Give it up for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, go Birds!
Excellent, excellent work.
Here's the
Excellent
song I
work.
suggest. I'm over here now. Finally
Excellent work.
successful. I got a lot. I got a bunch of chicken breasts, dude. You want me to cook them, fry them, glaze them? I'll put them on your plate. You'll fucking feel amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We'll see you later.
Brother, great work.
Nico!
Great work. Thank you so much.